Hi, I'm Bailey Bennett Andrade, DEI Media Marketer. In the following presentation, you will hear from Dr. Peter Flores as he discusses one of the four main tools used at the center, the 5 essential elements.
Hello, my name is Dr. Pete Flores, and I am a senior associate with the Center for Culturally Proficient Educational Practice. It gives me great pleasure today to introduce the fourth tool of the Cultural Proficiency Framework, the essential elements. It's important to know that there are 5 essential elements in the Cultural Proficiency Framework. The essential elements are an interdependent set of standards that guide us being intentional while on our cultural proficiency journey. The essential elements are initiated at cultural competence and extended into cultural proficiency as described in the cultural proficiency continuum, which is the third tool of the framework. So really important to understand that. They are initiated at cultural competence. Today, in describing each essential element, I'm going to actually be sharing a case study that I did where my study actually included the essential elements and provided for a snapshot of how my site and my district went from the left side of the continuum to the right side of the continuum, from tolerance for diversity to transformation for equity. And so as I go through and describe each essential element, you'll get to see one of the tables for each of the elements that'll help you, hopefully, and I think it will, for better understanding each of the essential elements. So as a reminder, there are 5 essential elements. The first essential element is assessing our culture. This is what I call claiming our differences. It is knowing how to recognize how our individual cultures and the culture of the organization affects people who have different cultures or different groups of people. It is important that we know how to describe our culture and the cultural norms of our school or our district, and especially to understand how the culture of our school and district does affect those that we serve. So that is assessing our culture. The second essential element is valuing diversity or naming our differences. In valuing diversity, we recognize that diversity is not perceived as being a deficit, but it is perceived as being an asset. And that we need to know how to accept that each culture finds some values and behaviors more important than others. So we can't just assume that everybody's values and behaviors are the same as ours. And so this is what I describe as being more community-centric and less school-centric. The third essential element is managing the dynamics of difference. Because we've assessed our culture, we recognize the importance of diversity. Now we need to be able to manage those differences that are caused by different cultures. And this is where my experience has shown me that a lot of individuals and organizations tend to get stuck because they enter into this conflict, this ethical tension, and they don't know how to manage that. And so this, in my opinion, is one of the most important essential elements, is knowing how to manage the dynamics of difference. And recognizing that, by recognizing the dynamics of difference, we also realize that we may misjudge others' actions based on our learned experiences. So knowing how to manage the dynamics of difference is a key step to moving towards the next essential element. Fourth, adapt to diversity. The fourth essential element is adapting to diversity or changing to make a difference. And this is where we have to change the way that things are done, not just as we do as individuals, but maybe it's time to look at our organization, our practices, our policies, how we identify difference in the way of maybe some racial and ethnic differences or disparities. And we look to institutionalize our cultural interventions for conflicts and confusion caused by the dynamics of difference. So basically what we're doing is we are now changing as an organization and as individuals, because we're adapting to this diversity, and we are in the cultural competence range of the continuum. So now we want to become culturally proficient. We want to go from being competent to proficient. So the next and the final essential element is known as institutionalizing cultural knowledge. And this is where we enter with systemic change. This is where we actually train about the differences and we incorporate our cultural knowledge into the mainstream of the organization. And this is where we teach about the origins of stereotypes and prejudices. And then also, most importantly, because we want to build capacity and sustainability, here is where real institutional systemic change occurs. And hopefully that will create a culturally proficient organization that can serve any culture, wide range of diversity of students and families, and flourish and provide a high quality education for all. So again, to recap, 5 essential elements: assessing your culture, valuing your diversity, managing the dynamics of difference, adapting to diversity, and institutionalizing cultural knowledge. I hope this was helpful. I look forward to sharing my knowledge, and best of luck becoming a culturally competent educator.